Women's March founder Teresa Shook calling on her own co-chairs, these four women, to resign. She's accusing them of pushing racism, anti-Semitic views, and hateful rhetoric. Our next guest argues it's just another example of what the left does. Here to explain is Fox News contributor and president of the Independent Women's Voice, Tammy Bruce. Hey, Tammy.
Hey there. Good morning.
Right, so what do you make of this?
You know, this was a huge event, right? It was an amazing organizational effort. Started by a woman in Hawaii, a retired lawyer, using a Facebook page. It was the great example of the modern age. And women came together, but we already saw in the beginning there where there was a fracture, whereas if you were pro-life, you were not invited, right? There was already divisions about identity, if you will. And this is the problem with identity politics, is that when you're saying where ideas are not discussed, where it's about who you are or your complexion or gender, is that it automatically requires you to look at other people as the other. Right? If that's your pride is in your sense of self, then you're automatically not going to be dealing with ideas. It's about how you're better or more superior to other people. And that's what's happened. It certainly is not a recipe for unity, right? It's a recipe for bigotry. And that's what the left does. The left, historically, around the world, co-ops issues and organizations important to society, very important issues like women's rights, and then take it and use it to divide, make the issues about race as an example. Now, the Women's March, unfortunately, as people hear the rhetoric, is now about defeating white nationalism. And the white man. So now it's all about race. It's not about women's rights at all, because we do have a whole host of things that we agree on as women, regardless of our backgrounds.
So tell me what these four individuals did that the founder doesn't approve of.
Right. Well, there's a huge association with Louis Farrakhan, a man who, one event that at least one or two of them, Linda Sarsour and Tamika Mallory there attended, where he referred to the Jewish people as scum, as Satan, etc., not rebuking Louis Farrakhan. A lot of anti-gay sentiment as well that comes from that framework. So she thought, and she'd said this in her Facebook post, that they would right the ship and realize that this was a mistake. But no, they haven't, and they refuse to. What they do go back to is saying that as women of color, you know, this is our leadership, that in other words, if you disagree with them, you're racist. And of course, we've heard that as well. So this is an opportunity. This is not isolated. This is also now something the Democratic Party is going to have to deal with. It is either they're going to have to address these kinds of issues regarding identity politics, which will always sink into this framework, or really talk about ideas, the importance of ideas, regardless of your complexion, where you come from, and what makes us all Americans, and certainly what we have in common as women across the board as well.
Tammy Bruce, thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving.
Sure, you too.
Well, these